UFC Fight Night Des Moines, Cory Sandhagen versus Deivison Figueiredo just took place. Overall, it was a pretty good card. Like the prelims and maybe like one or two fights on the main card were dead, but I enjoyed the main card overall. So as much as I do want to shit on the prelims, which I'll get to later in this video, I think it was a very solid card considering what was on the main card. And I'm going to start with the early prelims, ending with the main event, covering my reaction to every single fight. And without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. Starting off with the early prelims, we have Juliana Miller versus Ivana Petrovic. Now, there were some important things I had to do that took priority over watching this fucking dead fight. And Juliana Miller, though, somehow won this fight, which I was not expecting. Round one, I believe Vana Petrovic just kind of outstruck Juliana Miller on the feet. You know, to be expected because Juliana Miller can't strike. But I believe it was I don't remember. I think it was round two and three where Juliana Miller she started implementing the takedowns, and Petrovic has never grappled in her life before apparently, and Juliana Miller was able to dominate the ground for at least 2 rounds to secure herself a 29-28 decision. Now, I remember in the post-fight speech, she was talking about how her mom recently passed away. So I'm not going to be too insulting to Juliana Miller. All I'm going to say, however, is that the fight itself was overall trash. All right. Again, I'm not going to trash Juliana Miller's performance. She won, and she won in spite of the fact that she's grieving over her mother's death. So again, congratulations to Juliana Miller. I would be lying to you, however, if I said this was an entertaining fight. And yeah, overall, I did not really enjoy this, but congrats to Juliana Miller regardless. We're going to move on. Moving on to Thomas Peterson versus Dontel Mays. Now, I picked Dontel Mays to win this fight. Unfortunately, I forgot to equate the fact that Dontel Mays is a fat sack of shit who has never trained jiu-jitsu in his life. Thomas Peterson just kept getting down Dontel Mays, and he ragdolled Dontel Mays over the course of 3 rounds. I believe two judges scored the fight 30-25. Listen, I didn't think much happened in this fight, but to be fair, I guess like Dontel Mays didn't do it for 3 rounds. And Thomas Peterson just kept taking down Dontel Mays, throwing ground and pound, looking for arm triangles here and there. And yeah, Thomas Peterson, it was a masterclass. Like, people are saying like who would win a fight between 100 men and one gorilla. I'm saying Thomas Peterson, I think him alone is enough to defeat 100 gorillas at once. So yeah, I cannot wait for another Thomas Peterson masterclass. And yeah, I guess I was wrong about Dontel Mays. Dontel Mays is just a fat black man who cannot do anything in terms of fighting capabilities. All right, we're gonna move on to the next fight because I'm sick of this blob off between Dontel Mays and Thomas Peterson already. Moving on, we got Gaston Bolaños versus Quang Lee. Third fight, third fight of the night, and third fight I already got wrong. Not gonna lie, I was kind of worried because I was like, there ain't no way I'm going like 0 for 12 on this fucking card or some horrendous prediction line like that. But yeah, turns out Quang Lee is pretty good at jiu-jitsu, and Gaston Bolaños cannot defend a takedown or let alone grapple to save himself. And even on the feet, it wasn't like Gaston Bolaños was doing much of anything. He just like threw lazy punches, and Quang Lee was able to time them with counters. Overall, I thought Quang Lee did a very good job. Round one, he just took down Gaston Bolaños and controlled his back for like what 3-4 minutes of the fight. And then round two, I believe Quang Lee caught Gaston Bolaños' kick, and then Lee toppled him over, and then caught the back before securing the rear naked choke, and Gaston Bolaños was left out on the canvas. Unfortunately, Ilya top Turo fans like myself cannot enjoy uh the unfortunate loss of Gaston Bolaños because I don't know. He just looks like Ilya Taporia. I was kind of rooting for him just because of that. But yeah, I guess great work from Quang Lee. Considering he was 0-2 prior to this fight, and the fact that he might have been cut if he lost this. So yeah, good job for Quang Lee. He gets to keep his job a little bit longer, and hopefully we get to see him win some fights more often. Because I'm not gonna lie, his first two fights, it was a meh. Like the Xiao Long fight was all right, but the Chris Gutierrez fight, hopefully he doesn't have any more duds like that in the future. Moving on, we got Marina Rodriguez versus Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson just ragdolled Marina Rodriguez for 2 rounds. I believe the first round, like Marina Rodriguez was kind of outstriking Jillian Robertson, but the second that Robertson just took the hips and took Rodriguez down, it was one-way traffic from there. I believe in the second round, Rodriguez had this ninja choke, which was a pretty good attempt, but Robertson was able to escape. And once she did, it was night night for Marina Rodriguez. Marina Rodriguez was sent to retirement effectively by Jillian Robertson. Rodriguez, I'm not gonna lie, like I get it, it's an emotional moment for you, but let's be real, like you didn't have to talk for like 20 minutes for your post-fight interview. Like, I know it's not 20 minutes, but it felt like 20 minutes in there, considering how much you kept yapping, and then how, like, she does this thing where, like, she pauses in the middle of her sentences for, like, a very long time, and then every time Bisping was trying to take away the mic, then she started talking again. She's like, "Oh, one more thing, you guys. Alright, we gotta stop, like, these foreign fighters from just yapping on nonstop. Like, we gotta start setting a time limit." Like, for people like not just Marina Rodriguez because she's effectively retired at this moment, but, people like Marab and Pantoja, like, you know how they go on yapping for, like, 20 something years? Yeah, like, I'm not saying don't continue the yapping, just kinda reduce that by, like, half, alright? That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, great job for Jillian Robertson. She is basically, Canada's pride because, Canada cannot raise a solid, male fighter, and Jillian Robertson, I think she's gonna be looking for a top 5 opponent soon. Moving on, we got Ryan Loder versus Azamat Bakoyev. Azamat Bakoyev just knocked out Ryan Loder in the first round. Ryan Loder, he tried to shoot for takedowns, which is certainly more than what I could say for someone in the co-main event. We'll get to Bo Nickel in a second, but Ryan Loder, he tried shooting takedowns, and unfortunately, Azamat Bakoyev was able to shuck it off and then just beat Ryan Loder's ass on the feet, knocked him out with like a three-piece special. Azamat Bakoyev, I think he's roided up, but he's pretty good. Uh, I don't know if he's gonna get a ranked opponent off this, but I think he's pretty close. I think he's a brand new unranked contender that's gonna do well in my opinion. I think it all depends on who Bakoyev gets from the UFC. Like I could see matchups where Bakoyev can lose, but at the same time, I think Bakoyev is very solid. He's got dynamite in his hands, and his wrestling again, it's very solid. He wasn't really able to show it against Ryan Loder, but Ryan Loder again is an elite wrestler, so he did enough to just defend the takedowns, and that's good enough in my opinion because he got the first round knockout. Overall, great stuff from Azamat Bakoyev, and hopefully he gets to fight very soon because he took relatively zero damage in this fight. And if he fights like one or two more guys, he might be looking for a ranked opponent in the future. All right, moving on. We got Yana Santos versus Misha Tate. Ah, Misha Tate. Misha Tate. What? Can she just retire, please? Like that was kind of sad to watch. Like I know that Misha Tate made the rallying comeback in the third round, like she always does, but can I be real? That first round was very depressing because I think in like the first 30 seconds to a minute, Misha Tate came out guns blazing, but then she used up nearly all of her stamina for like 30 seconds of throwing DDP-esque punches. And I don't know. She after the minute where Yana Santos just survived, Misha Tate proceeded to do nothing but stare at Yana Santos menacingly, which is how she lost 2 rounds, unfortunately. And as for Yana Santos, I don't even think she's that good. She just kind of outstruck Misha Tate because again, Misha Tate after like the first wild exchange, she didn't really try to press up again. She I think the adrenaline dumped, and Yana Santos was able to just minorly outstrike Misha Tate for like 10 minutes or so. Unfortunately, I got this pick wrong, and Misha Tate, for some reason, wanted to actually strike very aggressively to the point where she gassed out. Like, if she was just going for takedowns and got tired in the process, that's one thing because that's what Misha Tate usually does. But she's trying to do new things at the age of 38, 39. Like, I'm sorry, like you're not suddenly developing these elite level boxing skills that can pressure someone and possibly knock someone out. Misha Tate, like you're just not doing that. Just stick to what you're good at. And conveniently, what you're good at is what Yana Santos is bad at. Unfortunately, you chose to go with the path of most resistance and tried to out kickbox Yano Santos. Uh, I don't know what to do with Misha Tate at this point. Again, ideally she should retire, but I don't think she is. And as for Yana Santos, I don't really care. I don't think she's good. She just she's just barely outstruck Misha Tate, and she's lost to a lot of girls within the top 10. So yeah, if anything, this fight kind of proved that this division, women's bantamweight is kind of fucked. It is completely fucked, especially now that Amanda Nunes is coming back. There is literally no one that can realistically challenge the top five, or at least like Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes. It's just those two, and the rest are pretty ass. All right. We're going to move on to the next fight of Jeremy Stevens versus Mason Jones. This was fun to watch. Mason Jones, like, wow, that was a crafty performance. Like, my hats off to Jeremy Stevens as well. Like, dude has a chin made of iron. Like, Mason Jones was tagging Jeremy Stevens with like crazy shots, like spinning elbows, wheel kicks, like left hooks. Mason Jones basically threw the kitchen sink at Jeremy Stevens for like 2 rounds. And Jeremy Stevens not only took those shots, but he was also throwing back and had Mason Jones on the ropes for a few seconds. But in the last round, Mason Jones, he was like he stopped playing around and actually started implementing takedowns and just ragdolled Jeremy Stevens for 5 minutes or so. Super impressive performance from both guys. It wasn't as one-sided as I thought it would be. But again, Mason Jones, I think he kind of wanted to play around with the crowd for at least like 2 rounds because a lot of people in that crowd wanted to see Jeremy Stevens get a highlight reel KO. And hats off to Mason Jones for obliging that for 2 rounds. And hats off to Jeremy Stevens for being able to fight the way he did at the age of 38 when he hasn't fought within the last, what, 3 or 4 years or so. Overall, very impressive performance from both. And hopefully this fight gets a fight of the night. And these two get the 50K bonus overall. But yeah, super impressive stuff from both parties, especially Mason Jones overall. Moving on, we have Cameron Smotherman versus Surrey City. This was a little bit of a forgettable fight, but Surrey City kind of dominated Cameron Smotherman over the course of 3 rounds. Like Cameron Smotherman couldn't really find his range with his punches, and Surrey City did a very good job mixing in the kicks and just making it a kickboxing fight, while Cameron Smotherman tried to primarily box. I think Surrey City, again, is he elite level? I don't think so, but he is a very dynamic striker, and if you're coming in with a one-dimensional approach like Cameron Smotherman over here, I think Surrey City kind of proved that he will be able to outpoint you over the course of 3 rounds. And Again, there's a lot of questions regarding Surrey City's abilities overall if he can challenge like the elite level of the division, which I don't think is possible. But again, it was a lot better than when he fought, I believe, Garrett Armfield. And to be fair, I do rate Garrett Armfield, but yeah, overall, I'd say it wasn't the most memorable performance, but Surrey City, he looked a little bit better than I thought, even though I picked him to win. I was just expecting more of a competition between Smotherman and Surrey City. And again, even though it wasn't the most exciting fight, Surrey City did the job well, and he was able to secure, I believe, 3 rounds, 30-27. So yeah, clean win for Surrey City, and congratulations. Moving on, we have Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. Uh, where do I start with this fight? Daniel Marcos tried his best to impersonate Mario Bautista. Unfortunately, Daniel Marcos forgot the fact that he has no cardio. His wrestling is dog shit, and he, I don't know, he just doesn't manage his gas tank all that well, and he cannot throw a punch to save his life, at least effectively. Montel Jackson, he didn't look that good either, but I'm gonna put more of the blame on Daniel Marcos because Daniel Marcos really tried to pull the Mario Bautista game plan and just try to hold Montel Jackson on against the cage for 3 rounds. Unfortunately, again, he's not Mario Bautista. He's a lot worse than Mario Bautista when it comes to clinch work on against the cage. And Montel Jackson, every time they separated, was able to piece up Daniel Marcos for a 29-28, 30-27 decision. Again, I don't give a shit. The first, especially the first 2 rounds, were completely dead. The third round had a little bit more action because I believe Montel Jackson just wobbled Daniel Marcos. But again, it wasn't by much. Most of the fight was spent against the cage where like both guys were kind of holding each other down. And unfortunately for Daniel Marcos, he just did a lot less than Montel Jackson, which is why Montel Jackson won. Again, for Jackson, this wasn't the most impressive performance. If anything, the UFC will probably not do you any favors in the future. However, he did get the job done, and most of the blame should be placed on Daniel Marcos. So, yeah, I guess good job for Montel Jackson for now, at least. Moving on, we got Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Daniel Rodriguez. Daniel Rodriguez knocked out Santiago Ponzinibbio in the third round. The first round, I believe, D-Rod was wobbling Santiago Ponzinibbio. It was a crazy fight, while it lasted. I guess during the beginning and the end. Like the second round, nothing really happened. But rounds 1 and 3 were fun to watch. And in the third round, I believe Santiago he was building up some offense, and I thought it was looking bad for D-Rod. But then D-Rod he caught him in the pocket, 3-4 piece special, and dropped Santiago Ponzinibbio bad. Initially, I thought it was a little bit early of a stoppage, but after Ponzinibbio got up and started like wobbling against the wobbling towards the cage, you realize that oh wait, it was a good stoppage in hindsight. So yeah, great job from Daniel Rodriguez, and hopefully he gets a 50K bonus because fucking Christ, that fight before Montel Jackson, Daniel Marcos, and as well as watching the Canelo fight on the side just gave me depression in a way. Like it made me question why I watch all these shitty fights. But yeah, thank you to Daniel Rodriguez for effectively waking me up and for putting on an exciting performance with Santiago Ponzinibbio. Moving on to the co-main event, we have Rainer de Ritter versus Bo Nickel. Listen, I'm so happy for Rainer de Ritter. Like, I don't care that I picked Bo Nickel. Fuck Bo Nickel. He's an industry plant with the charisma of a cockroach. Now, Rainer de Ritter out Dutch kickboxed Bo Nickel over the course of 2 rounds. The first round was a little bit interesting. Bo Nickel was able to take down Rainer de Ritter, and the grappling transitions were pretty solid. But it was clear that Bo Nickel, his knowledge in jiu-jitsu is very limited compared to Rainer de Ritter. And Rainer de Ritter was able to capitalize, and he was able to get back up to his feet. His guard, he was very active in his guard and was able to just move around Bo Nickel however he wanted. And then round two, like Rainer the Ritter, he started outboxing Bo Nickel. And I was so surprised to see that because I thought Bo Nickel would have been the one to be aggressive on the feet. But no, turns out that Rainer the Ritter, he actually started working on his kickboxing and he started throwing some vicious knees to the body of Bo Nickel. And eventually, Bo Nickel succumbed to the pain in the liver. And Rainer the Ritter kneed him one more time before Bo Nickel dropped, giving Rainer the Ritter a round two TKO. Overall, I think Rainer the Ritter is the real deal. I had a lot of doubts watching his fights with GM3. And Kevin Holland doesn't really tell me much because Kevin Holland, let's be honest, he's kind of shit at middleweight. But yeah, I think Rainer de Ritter, he is an elite, a legit top 15 contender. I think from here on out, Rainer de Ritter is probably gonna get like fights up the division, and yeah, I won't be surprised if he manages to somehow get himself into the top five, depending on the matchups, because he's pretty solid. Like you can't. He's not as useless as we thought on the feet. Like he will throw with vicious knees if you get him in the clinch, and he's not as bad as I thought when it comes to boxing. So overall, I was more impressed with Rainer de Ritter and the fact that Bo Nickel is a complete scrub. But yeah, I guess Rainer de Ritter is a legitimate contender, and congratulations to him. And thank you for fraud checking this fucking industry plat. I fucking hate Bo Nickel. He is annoying. He is delusional. Uh, I find no attraction to him whatsoever. I don't know why the UFC tried to promote him so much. But yeah, I'm very happy that that mess is all over with because how are you gonna promote Bo Nickel now? Let's be real. He was the supposed answer to the Dagestanis. Come to find out, this dude cannot do any sort of fucking jujitsu or striking whatsoever. So overall, Bo Nichols stick to wrestling or just fight cans and get early round knockouts. Just never talk about fighting Hamza Chimaev or Robert Whitaker ever again. But yeah, thank you for Rainer de Ritter for handing Bo Nickel the fat last fraud check. Finally, we get to the main event: Cory Sandhagen versus Deivison Figueiredo. This fight was kind of sad to watch. It really was. Cory Sandhagen just dominated Deivison Figueiredo, and eventually Sandhagen got a round two TKO after Figgy popped his knee during the middle of an inverted heel hook transition, and Figgy just tapped to injury as a result. I'm not gonna lie, it was really sad. I don't know why Figgy was going for so many heel hooks or like leg locks in the first place. Like I there was no plan for that. There's no reason to throw that many leg locks in my opinion, especially against Cory Sandhagen, who is knowledgeable in jiu-jitsu. Like if Figgy was fighting a complete bum on the ground, like who can I name? Yeah, Montel Jackson. If Figgy was fighting a complete bum like Montel Jackson when it comes to grappling, then yeah, I'd say all right, that's maybe justifiable. But Cory Sandhagen is good. Cory Sandhagen, like he doesn't necessarily have to be better than you on the ground. He just has to be good enough. Oh, sorry about that. He just has to be good enough to where he can just, you know, peel off the leg and just smashing ground and pound. And if anything, I thought Cory Sandhagen was the better grappler tonight. He took down Deivison Figueiredo. He initiated most of the grappling exchanges, and he ended up on top, laying vicious ground and pound over the course of 2 rounds. As much as I did like Cory Sandhagen's aggressive performance, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what Figgy was doing. I think Figgy is kind of washed at this point. Unfortunate as it is to say, yeah, I just don't think Figgy has the same durability or like the same I guess fight IQ like he used to. I don't know, man. It was just very sad and awkward to see Figgy just pull nonstop leg locks and fail all of them, only to get his face smashed in by Cory Sandhagen for like 2 rounds. But yeah, hats off to Cory Sandhagen. He looked a lot more aggressive than in his fight with Umar Nurmagomedov. Uh, he could get a title shot because he's the only one that hasn't fought either O'Malley or Merab Dvalishvili. But let's be honest, is Cory Sandhagen really gonna get a title shot? Probably not. Like Peter Yan, Umar Nurmagomedov. I know Umar Nurmagomedov just lost, but like two are still there, and those two are arguably better than Cory Sandhagen. But yeah, I guess if no one's available and Marab wins, I guess give him Cory Sandhagen. I'm not gonna be too hyped for that though. I still think Marab would win, but I guess hats off to Cory Sandhagen. He showed a lot more aggression. I do think he's a lot more improved than before. Where against Umar Nurmagomedov, he just kind of fixated on the takedown defense too much to a point where like his striking offense became stagnant. But now Cory Sandhagen is the one initiating everything. So yeah, hats off to Cory Sandhagen. And as for Davidson Figueiredo, unfortunately, I think he's washed and he should retire. All right, that's gonna be it for today's video. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought about UFC Des Moines, Cory Sandhagen versus Deivison Figueiredo. You think Cory Sandhagen deserves a title shot after this? Is Figgy washed? Just leave a comment down below what you guys think. But other than that, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Oh, and one more thing. I'm not really gonna be able to upload videos. I have my finals coming up in the near future, so uh I will probably make a prediction video for UFC 315 on Friday, but do not expect any videos from me anytime soon. All right? So, yeah, keep that in mind and hopefully you don't unsubscribe by then. So, yeah. Peace.